In America, students spend approximately 12 years in primary and secondary school in which we all learn stuff that we thought was useless. A survey conducted by H&R Block asked Americans about their schooling growing up. As a result of that survey, 84% of Americans have said they have learned things in school that they have never had to utilize in real life. I'm a college student living on my own, and I feel like school did not prepare me for the real world, and I'm sure many of you can relate. Today I will be talking about how schools should change the education system and teach more life skills. I'll explain how the school system works now. I will then talk about how schools aren't setting students up for success. And lastly, I will talk about what needs to change in America's school system. In America's schools, we have learned how to read and write, mathematics, history, and science. Students go to school Monday through Friday and sit in a classroom for 6+ hours a day while teachers teach the Common Core, an outline of what students should know in math and English by the end of each grade level. Throughout the year, students are given grades, which are on a scale A through F in percentages 0 to 100 to show if they are learning the Common Core. The American education system also requires students to take an end-of-year test of everything they learned that year. If they pass, they advance to the next grade. If they fail, they must repeat the grade. The Common Core fits a lot of information for a student to learn in the year, and sometimes teachers speeding up lessons and not leaving enough time for students to actually process what they're learning is an issue. What the education system isn't fitting in time for teachers to teach is important life skills. With students having a mindset of learning for a good grade, it is not setting students up for success. I'm sure most of us remember going to school and thinking, when am I ever going to need to know this outside this class? And most of the time, we haven't had to know it. James Stigler and James Hubert, writers from the Free Press, go in depth on teaching techniques from around the world. In their study, Japan teaches structured problem solving and teachers refine the lessons, while in America, students learn terms and demonstrate procedures in a non-interactive way. In their study, they conclude that Japan has the most skillful and purposeful teaching. Elena D., an American student from Hogwarts High School, stresses that school did not prepare her. She states, "I barely understand credit and they expect me to be perfectly fine a year from now living on my own." Elena also asked the New York Times, "Why do we dedicate our high school lives to studying equations we'll never have to use? And why do exams on pointless topics determine our futures?" Elena brings up a great point in how the American education system isn't setting students up for success, and many other students feel the same. So what does the American school system need to fix? Market research firm OnePoll conducted a study that the average American only uses 37% of what they learned in school. So why not take the other 63% of information and turn it into useful things? Useful things such as how to find a job, time management, budgeting, taxes, and so many more life skills. At Tahoe Expedition Academy, a school in Truckee, California, they teach hands-on learning to prepare students for the world. This school helps students develop critical thinking, decision-making, and the ability to engage with one another and the world. While the school doesn't teach for the test, students still outperform national averages in standardized tests and learn great life skills. If all American schools added these teaching techniques, it would set students up for success. To conclude, America's education system isn't teaching life skills to prepare students for the real world. The world is constantly changing, and it's now time for the education system to change. As discussed earlier, the Common Core and teaching for the test isn't productive. In addition to that, the American education system isn't setting students up for success, while countries such as Japan are teaching beneficial life skills. Lastly, if the American education system changed to teach more life skills, it would help prepare students for the real world.